We figured it out. We figured it out. We're going to kind of jump back into it. Now I'm live. Okay, so what's going on, Minnesota Vikings Syndicate? Little technical difficulties there. It is what it is. It's a learning process. So let's jump right into it. Let's talk about the game. All right, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? All right, we had a kind of a little mix up there, technology. Got to get used to it. I kind of figured out that I had hit go live on the studio, but we're here. We're ready to talk some Vikings football. We just lost 26-20. Chime in if you are in the chat because we want to talk to you guys, get your thoughts on, what you liked, what you didn't like. Obviously, the penalties, a big issue for the Minnesota Vikings, which we can clean up. It's preseason week 1. It was the first game. A lot of young guys in that lineup, a lot of guys that aren't going to be starters. But overall, I think it was a pretty decent game, a pretty solid game from our Vikings, I should say. Like Kellen Mond. We just talked about him a little bit ago, where he went 9 for 14 passing, 119 yards, 2 touchdowns. Pretty solid day. Pretty solid day in my opinion. I don't believe we need to go out there and find a new quarterback. I honestly believe that we just kind of have to, sit back, relax, and let Kellen Mond do his thing. Let Kellen Mond try to win that backup quarterback battle that he has with Sean Mannion. Now, obviously, the Vikings started the game with Sean Mannion at quarterback, which I kind of expected. I think every Vikings fan expected Sean Mannion to do so because he was our backup last season. So we wanted to see where he was at and what he and the offense looked like. And not the greatest, okay, but definitely better than we assumed was going to happen. He only went 8 for 12 passing, no touchdowns, 79 passing yards. He was sacked 2 times. Kellen Mond wasn't sacked at all. And we'll talk about that too because Kellen Mond, this man, is a magician in that backfield. There was one play specifically where he dropped back and he kind of rolled outside, I think the left side of the pocket, and all of a sudden there was a guy right there. He's like, oh no. And then kind of did a 360 spin, sprinted out the other side, stopped, made this guy kind of miss, and then let the ball fly. He had some accurate throws. Some throws just weren't as accurate, obviously, but what are you going to do? It was preseason week 1. So chime in if you're in the chat. Let's hear what you guys got to say about this game. What'd you like? What didn't you like? The offensive line, obviously, still a key thing that the Vikings need to work on, right? I think we had our starters in. At least I seen Christian Darrisaw was in there. Garrett Bradbury started. So most of our starters, I think all of them, maybe not Brian O'Neill, were in the game, did start for us. Pretty solid, but could be better. Defensive line was actually a massive upside for us, I thought. Our depth at that position is going to help us later on in the season. I mean, literally the second line, the third line, the fourth line, whoever was in there at defensive tackle, the ends, the right end, the left end, it seemed as if we were just fine. No matter who was in, Patrick Jones was in there making some plays. He looked really well. DJ Wanham played phenomenal, which I know one of my buddies actually said that he wanted DJ Wanham to start last season or to take over that second end role. But now, obviously, with Zadarius Smith coming over this offseason, you got to expect that ain't going to happen. So sorry about it. Pending injury. We don't want injuries to happen. It is what it is. The Vikings still have some work to do. That defensive line looked good. Our linebackers were flying around making plays. Brian Asamoah was actually in there on a couple of them. The dude absolutely lit this guy up. Don't remember who the receiver was. Sorry about it. Not a Raiders fan, okay? That's just how it is. This is the Vikings, Minnesota Vikings Syndicate. We're a Vikings fan here. So Asamoah, phenomenal. His speed, his, how do you want to say it? Like his motor, something about him looks really, really solid. So, I mean, good game. I think our running backs were another key piece that looked pretty solid. Okay, Kene Nwangwu, I'm not really sure how to say his last name. I don't think you pronounce the N. We'll get it right, was saying Wong-Woo, so we'll say that. He looked phenomenal. He's trying to get that, third string running back role, which I'm sure he has it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts, unless Ty Chandler comes out of nowhere with, what he's been able to do. He had 5 rushes, 50 yards. So let's go to the chat right here. Denzel McCrae, he said, hey, I'm new to the Syndicate channel. My question is Kevin O'Connell the right coach for the Vikings? I believe so. I honestly do think he's the right coach for the Vikings. Now, it is very early to see that and to kind of make a judgment call. But what I've seen from our offense, it looked pretty solid. I believe he was the one calling the plays, even though we do have an offense coordinator in Wes Phillips. But Kevin O'Connell, the way our offense kind of upgraded seemed pretty solid. Like, I liked it. I don't know about you guys, but I think he's the right coach. I think he's going to get these guys in the right position. I think going into the offseason when I knew Mike Zimmer wasn't going to be the head coach no more, I said I wanted a offensive-minded head coach. I wanted someone to take over that offensive role and give the defensive role to that D coordinator. Let the D coordinator focus solely on defense because the Vikings have had history with these defensive-minded head coaches like a Mike Zimmer, a Leslie Frazier, and stuff like that. And, yeah, we've had great defenses. We have. Okay, it's just how the Minnesota Vikings have been, but our offense has been really lackluster. I think we haven't had an explosive offense since this man right here, Randy Moss, was on the team with Dante Culpepper. So I believe, he's gonna take this team in the right direction, but it is very early to see that, and we'll see when regular season rolls around if he's the actual guy for the job. I believe he is. So moving on, let's talk about that running back more, the running back room a little bit more. We have some guys there. Our depth at that position is pretty solid. We're going to have a couple guys that, are going to go out there and perform if need be. Like if Dalvin, he has an injury history, hopefully that stays away. Let's hope that he can go out there, okay, stay healthy, and if not, Ty Chandler. Kene Nwangwu comes in and steps up nicely. That's what I seen today. Our offensive line was creating some nice holes, but their pass protection needs to be better, and that's what we have been kind of stressing this entire offense. Not only myself, but I'm sure many Vikings fans out there. It has been that reason or that way the last couple seasons, right, where we're looking for a guy or for an offensive line, like a solid offensive line. We haven't had that in I don't know how many years. It's a young line. But I think we're starting to plug and place the right people, like a Christian Darrisaw, who's drawing comparisons to, Trent Williams, who is a future Hall of Famer, in my opinion. So that's good news. Bradbury, he definitely needs to pick it up a lot. Ezra Cleveland, I think he's going to be one of the guys to kind of keep an eye on, see how he does this season. Really didn't, blow anybody away last season, but from what I seen, it looked like he was performing all right. So we just got to keep the protection there, keep our quarterbacks healthy, and try to allow less sacks than normal, okay, which I don't know what normal would be, but you get it, okay? So wide receiver-wise, we had some good guys. We had some pretty studs. Amir Smith-Marset actually was taking a lot of the targets today, did pretty solid, had 5 targets. He only had 3 catches, which is okay. It's a preseason game, 31 yards. He didn't reach the end zone. But one man that's kind of flown under everybody's radar, right, is Albert Wilson. Comes over from the Miami Dolphins, and hey, I've used him on Madden, okay, even though that is very irrelevant, and he did the exact same things I expected him to do, but he was awesome. He's a key piece to this offense. I think it's going to be a pretty big battle to see who's going to get that 4th string spot at wide receiver, because Albert Wilson went out there, 2 touchdowns on the day, 2 for 2. He was targeted twice, caught both the balls for 22 yards. Okay, both of them touchdowns, by the way. And Kellen Mond, actually, the accuracy is there. Okay, there was one play, Albert Wilson ran up, cut out real quick, and then cut right back up the field. And he just laid in that dime pass. It was phenomenal to watch. It was honestly great. It was really good to watch because, Kirk Cousins, who knows what he's going to be able to do this season. I like him. I think he's he's going to be our quarterback for at least this season, maybe next season, because there is no other quarterback on the market that's better. It's just how it is. Like, that's just the way it's going to be. As for our defense, we talked about the linebackers, our defensive line, the ends. But let's go to the secondary. I think the secondary was a big weakness for the Minnesota Vikings. We could have done a lot better than we previously have. But I think, with it being week 1 preseason, there's still a lot to learn. There's still a lot to figure out who's going to start where. And we didn't have, Patrick Peterson in to start. We didn't have Harrison Smith out there to help that secondary a little bit more. Or I don't even think Cam Bynum. No, he did. Cameron Bynum started the game with Lewis Cine. Now, Lewis Cine, hey, he looked okay. Not the greatest. He wasn't going to make those splash plays and do all like something special, but he played pretty solid in my opinion. Andrew Booth Jr., again, one of those guys that kind of was, you didn't see enough from him. It seemed like he was doing just fine, but we have to figure out how to stop those, those 15 in routes or 15-yard and then in routes or whatever you want to call them, post routes. We gotta stop those, and I think that'll come in time for the Minnesota Vikings. So once again, if you're in the chat, hey, let's tap in. Let's see what you guys have to say, your thoughts, your opinions, some questions maybe that I can answer for you guys. Otherwise, we'll continue to keep going on talking about this team. Now, Kellen Mond, right? Stud, in my opinion. He's gonna get that backup job. I think we got to stick with him. We got to roll with him, and kind of go from there. The Vikings played some pretty good football. Greg Joseph made every field goal that he had. 2 extra points, 2 field goals. Huge day for him. That's just typical Vikings football. There was a couple times where I thought our special teams, though, wasn't the greatest. Okay, wasn't the greatest. There was one point where, what was it? It was 4th and 2. The Raiders were punting. Our special teams unit went in there and, offsides or false start, whatever the case was. They end up getting an automatic first down, and then they go down the field. They score. So I think the special teams honestly lost us the game along with those penalties. You guys can let me know what you thought about that, because I think special teams is one of those positions or one of those position groups where you're going to win the ball game or you're going to lose the ball game. Like punting, for instance. If the punter doesn't, put you in great field position, then your defense is kind of screwed, to say the least. Or like if your field goal kicker misses a kick, well, that's 3 points now that you just lost, or misses an extra point, that's 1 point. So special teams is one of those spots where you're going to win the ball game or you're going to lose the ball game. Now, obviously, the game is won in the trenches, okay? The offensive line, the defensive line. So our special teams needs to be better, I think a lot better. So let me know, again, chime in on the chat. Let's see who is all in here. We got Denzel McCrary, I think, yeah. And then we got Steeler Nation's Australia. What's up, Steelers Nation? Mark, that's who it is. We got let's see who else is in here. The Gridiron Blitz was in here on the Get Your Fix channel. I don't know why it's on there, but it is what it is. You guys, let's see who else. We got we got Mom in there. Sarah, how's it going? Druzy, what's going on, my guy? What'd you think about the game, huh? Let's see what you got to say. This game was fun, though. I'm glad Vikings football is officially back. Hearing Paul Allen's voice, that was absolutely electrifying. I knew it was football. When I woke up this morning, I was like, okay, it's game time. Had to go make myself some burgers and stuff beforehand, get the pregame meal in and sit down, relax, and soak it all in because it's officially back. Week 2 next week is against the San Francisco 49ers. I believe that is August 20th at 6 p.m. So that'll be fun. We got to figure out where to watch that one. Even though I'm in Minnesota, that should be just fine for us. But that's going to be another good game. I think we can win that one. Obviously, coming off a loss, I think we can go into San Fran and win that one. They had a lot of their starters play against the Green Bay Packers. And Green Bay didn't look too hot, to say the least. Niners, Trey Lance, He balled out. But our Vikes should have no problem rolling in there and taking a dub. Hopefully Kirk Cousins heals from COVID. Okay? T's and P's to him. He comes back, and then we're off to the races. Maybe have him play one drive to see where he's at, or we just let him sit the rest of the preseason because we want to see the backups, and we want to see Kirk Cousins enter the regular season healthy. I think that's a massive thing for us. We got Dale also in the chat as well. That's on the Get Your Fix channel, Skull. So keep on losing. Yeah, well, listen, Dale. That's the thing about Minnesota Vikings football. You never know what you're going to get. Okay? You're either going to win the ball game or you're going to take it all the way down to the final 2 minutes and then blow it like we did last year. I think 14 or 15 of the games we had last year ended in a one-possession game. One-possession game. I think also if you take away, I think the final 2 minutes of all the ball games last year, of all the games, we would have been 15-2. Okay? Probably would have went to the playoffs. Blew it there, lost, and then early exit, you get it. It's just how the Vikings roll. But we have high hopes this season. We have a lot of high hopes because I think it's kind of been the norm now where new head coaches come in and have immediate success for some odd reason. Now, there's 8 new head coaches, 8 or 10 new head coaches around the NFL, so that's probably not going to be the case with some of them. But with a guy like Kevin O'Connell, who just got done winning a Super Bowl, knowing what it's like to do so, I think is a huge upside for us. Offensive-minded guy, Justin Jefferson was quoted on saying, "Hey, I finally understand why Cooper Kupp was open all that time and over there with the Los Angeles Rams and stuff like that." So this team's headed in the right direction. It really is. I like the game. We could have won. That would have made the night a lot sweeter, but it's preseason, okay? This is just a time to kind of, look at the guys and see what's going on. See how our rookies, our undrafted free agents are doing, seeing who the guys that we picked up during the offseason are doing. So I'm pumped for this season. Cannot wait to see what happens. Hopefully everything's going okay here on the we got 9 in here. Hey, let's hit that chat again. Druzy, all right. Denzel. So, next week, we got the 49ers. They're 1-0. Okay? 6 p.m. game time. That is August 20th. What's that, Saturday or is that Sunday? Huh? Let's go take a gander. It is Saturday. Okay, Saturday at 6 p.m. So, what I think we can expect from that game, like we did this game, we're going to see a mixture of Kellen Mond, Sean Mannion taking snaps at the center, and then we'll see a lot more of Albert Wilson, I believe, taking over that starting position for that game. Running backs, I think we're going to stick with the same. Ty Chandler, Kene Nwangwu, and I think, who was that one dude? We had, what's his name? We're going to take it. Let's go look. Something Kobach? Bryant Kobach. I think he's an undrafted rookie or something like that. So Alexander Madison got to start in this game, 3 rushes, 8 yards. But next week's going to be different. It's going to be more intense because I think practices are going to continue to go on with training camp, obviously. We're going to look better. So I'm pumped for it. I hope you guys are as well. We will be back here to next Saturday live to talk about that game and kind of a recap of what went on during that one. We'll see what time that is. Probably be about 9:15-ish, because I think that's what we did here, about 3 hours after game time started, and then we'll dive into it, see who's on the chat at that time. So have a great rest of your evening and your night. Let's go, Minnesota Skull Vikes.